Okay, there's a turtle right there on the path. And I think it might be nesting. Okay, check this out. Oh, it's definitely. Let's see if I can get in there. Maybe it's just taking a poop. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Did you just see that?
Yes. Oh.
Yes, people.
Okay. This just turned into
what we are witnessing is nature. Let me just make sure that we are live across all platforms.
We just saw that together.
That was unexpected.
Oh my. How many more? Okay, we're going to leave it now, but how many more does it have?
That was so cool.
That was so cool. Now his mouth is open. He's like, yep. Don't worry, dude. Up. He's getting ready to do it again. Breathe, man, breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then you go.
We are definitely live across all platforms.
How many can it have? That's the question.
Apparently, it can have anywhere between 2 and 30 because the internet gives very broad answers.
Perfect. Just presume her gender. I want to delete that part from the video. Damn it.
We're going to start off with nature and not stuff that makes us puke.
So it dug a hole.
It dug a hole.
And it poops the thing into the hole.
It's actually wild.
Put in the hole to like catch the egg and gently roll it down.
That's amazing.
Okay. One
it's a
more.
Red-eared turtle.
It's a red-eared turtle. It's a big.
It's standard red-ear.
You know, some people might come across it and say, "Hey, I better help nature. I'll put her back in the pond while she's laying her eggs." Look at this. Look at this.
On her head.
Okay, watch this, and we're gonna stop. Look at the glop coming up. Oh my goodness!
I think I missed it though.
She's pushing the glop that just came out of her vajayjay down into the hole, and there's gonna be one more egg coming out. It's like I keep telling my kids, if you leave the house, things happen. Good things happen. There you go. Look at this. It's like shaking that booty. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness, people.
Unreal.
Okay. And then she kicks it down and puts it down in the hole. Look at that. Bam. All right. I went back. I biked back this afternoon to see if the turtle was still there. I knew the turtle wasn't going to be there. But that's amazing. That's amazing. Damn, nature. Yesterday, we have an alligator trying to catch our bowfin. Today, we go to this park, you know, in the area to go jogging and see a freaking turtle doing her turtle business. It's amazing. Whether or not it's placenta, my operating theory is that it might be something intended to keep the eggs hydrated or moist, to quote Justin Trudeau. Let me just see something here. Hold on. I was just about to check something out in the... forget it. Good afternoon, everybody. This is another thing. Like, you know, I'm just sitting around. I did a vlog earlier today. I'm going to play some of that. We're going to talk about it today. I'm like, maybe we don't do a live stream today. I mean, what could have happened between last night and this afternoon? Answer: everything. For those of you who don't know me, Viva Frei, David Freiheit, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. Live streams, short vlogs, office vlogs, talking about what's going on in the that it can make sense, but it can't. It doesn't because the world's gone batshit crazy. We start on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Check that I'm using the right mic. Because if you can't hear, hold on one second. Let me see here. Settings. Oh, yeah. Microphone. This is the one right here. Nice. We're on the right mic. We're on everything. The internet, for some reason, is giving me a little bit of issues lately. So hopefully it's good. Viva needs a haircut. Nope. I don't think so anytime soon. By the way, we're having our Rumble Freedoms of Speech panel on May the 10th in Toronto. I don't exactly know where the event is, but I'm sure if you go to the interwebs and look it up, you'll find it. Speakers that are going to be there: Don Trump Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, Ezra Levant, Sheila Gunn Reid, David Menzies, Glenn Greenwald, myself, and there's one more in there that I think I might be forgetting. It's going to be phenomenal. That's what I got on the week. Wednesday, Dr. Chris Martenson during the day, and we've got a sidebar in the afternoon. And that's it. Now you know everything. We're going to end on YouTube after we do the first segment, which is a vlog that I already did today about this New York State senator who's, what is it called? Turnabout, or just outright hypocrisy. This New York senator is now getting a taste of his own unconstitutional, politically motivated legislation. We'll get there in a second, and then we're going to talk about the Trump contempt ruling today from the totally not corrupt Judge Juan Marchand, whose daughter is totally not raking in millions of dollars off this prosecution, who's not representing Adam Schiff, who's also receiving tens of millions of dollars in donations from this very prosecution from Judge Juan Marchand. He issued another contempt ruling today. And to quote Adam Sandler from They're All Gonna Laugh at You and Goat Boy, it will blow your freaking mind. It's just, I mean, it would be comical if it were funny. It's tragic. It's corrupt to the core. We'll get there. And I'm not going to do it as well as Robert Gouveia, nor am I going to for as long as Robert Gouveia, because Robert Gouveia, Watching the Watchers, he's going live at 6:00, and he's going to go over the the tweet stuff of the day. But I'm going to talk about it and run through some highlights from Inner City Press. So that's what's going on. The let me see something here. We're on Rumble. Whatever. Everybody should either become a member, which is not necessarily supporting. You don't have to pay money to become a member at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Viva Barnes Law. But you could be a member and no financial commitment whatsoever, just an email address to be part of a 120,000 member community at Viva Barnes. And if you want to support, that would be the ultimate flattery. That would be the ultimate honor. You get tons of exclusive content and all the good stuff. So that's where we're at. And I keep forgetting to talk about merch. But if you want merch, hold on. We got merch at vivafrei.com. This was our bestest, but we've got the shirts, all the other stuff, yada, yada. Okay, link to Viva Barnes Law, Maureen, is here. Boom, bada bing. Now, the link to Rumble should be in the pinned comment, but it's not because I forgot to do it. And link to Rumble here, bam, bada bing. And I'm going to go here. No, like this, and pin. There we go. All right, let's talk about the news of the day. First of all, I'll play a few minutes, not even 2 minutes, from my vlog of the day because it's fantastic. No, yes, I will. Just a couple minutes if I can find it. Karma is a biatch. Just listen to this. So Kevin Parker, New York State Senator, a Democrat, is a raging hypocrite, a double standard, rules for thee, but not for me. Who the fuck? Sing it, brother. Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator. You already got all of that. I put up the vlog earlier today. It's on Rumble, it's on YouTube, and it's on Twitter. If you haven't heard the news, this guy, there's a New York senator. His name is Kevin Parker. He was one of the senators who voted for the Adult Survivors Act, ASA, the Adult Survivors Act, which was a piece of legislation, spearheaded by Hochul, Kathy Hochul, who, if you haven't, if you've forgotten, Hochul might be among the most anti-Trump governors, anti-Trump politicians out there. This is a woman, Kathy Hochul, who reveled in Trump being removed from the ballot in Colorado, praised the states for their attempt to remove him from the ballot, said that even though he was removed from the ballot and reinstated by virtue of a 9-0 ass spanking by the Supreme Court, she still, congratulated the states for doing what they thought was within their constitutional powers to deny half of the country of their vote, to disenfranchise half of the country. The party that talks about it being racist to insist on voter ID because it disenfranchises African Americans as if they think that African Americans are somehow incapable of getting voter IDs or IDs, period. The same party that rails against the Republicans for voter disenfranchisement tried to disenfranchise half of the country of their vote. Okay, notwithstanding all of that, Kathy Hochul, the woman who, I don't know if she spearheaded this litigation, but she was certainly proud of it when it passed. The Adult Survivors Act, the man, Kevin Parker, who voted in support of it, who praised it because it was, amazing. He's now being sued under it. Now, for those of you who don't remember what the Adult Survivor Act is, it was a piece of legislation that offered a 1-year window of opportunity to file civil claims for what would otherwise be statutorily barred claims of sexual abuse or improper touching, all that stuff, because there's a statute of limitations beyond which you can't sue for certain things. This offered a 1-year window because sometimes there's pressure, there's fear, there's coercion, there's shame that makes it so that people don't file claims for sexual abuse, and their time had lapsed. And so this legislation was drafted and passed to allow people to have a 1-year window of opportunity to file a claim that would have otherwise been statutorily barred. It was praised as, availing victims of sexual abuse of their rights to remedy. And I remember it's so wild because I remember watching the interviews at the time, and they're like, this doesn't change the substance of the law. They're still going to have to prove their claims. It just opens a window for them to make their claims if they didn't make them in 25 plus years. E.g. and Carol, I'm looking at you. It doesn't change the burden of evidence. It doesn't change what needs to be proven in order to succeed on your claim. It just opens the door. As if some things don't become patently impossible to prove after 2.5 plus 3 decades at times. So this guy, Kevin Parker, passed the legislation. Looking at my dog because I think I smell something bad here. He passed the legislation. He voted for the legislation. He took pride in the legislation. Now he's being sued under the legislation by a woman who says that damn near 20 years ago, he raped her. And we'll go over that lawsuit in a second. And now he's saying it's unconstitutional. Listen to this. This is from Breitbart, but it was reported in the New York Post. I'm trying to find the actual quote of him saying it's unconstitutional because thus far all I can find is the New York Post saying he said it's unconstitutional. But the only quotes that they have from him are him saying, I'm still going to continue with my activism. Democrat New York State Senator fights law permitting rape lawsuit against him after he voted for it. That's an unclear title, Breitbart. You might want to fix that. New York State Senator Kevin Parker, Democrat from Brooklyn, who stands accused of raping a woman in 2004, claimed in court documents that the law supporting the lawsuit against him in the case was unconstitutional, despite the fact that he voted for it. I'm going to put on pause here. I'm going to put a pin in it. And those of you who have been around the channel for long enough are going to know where I'm going with this right now. Because it needs to be told, it needs to be repeated, and it needs to be documented so that nobody can say this never happened. You will all recall in 2020 when people were saying that was a fraudulent election. The election was stolen. And they were saying, shut your filthy mouths. You're getting demonetized. You're getting deplatformed. You cannot attack the legitimacy of elections. It was the most secure election in the world. And if you think that hundreds of thousands of confined voters in Wisconsin voting by mail is a problem, well, you should have had a hand in changing the laws or opposing the laws that were being changed beforehand. If you think that there was a problem with the signature verification in Georgia, well, you should have cried a little harder at the time because we never did that signature verification. And if you say anything bad about that election, we will deplatform you, we will demonetize you, and we will demonize you. Okay. They then went out to put out an article explaining exactly how they stole the election, but they don't call it stealing, you see. They called it fortifying. Now, this is repetitive for many of you, but it needs to be done here and documented in real time. Again, Time article, get the F out of here. Sorry, that's what. Time article magazine 2020, a 35-minute read. Hells to the bells, no. Molly Ball, hold on, Molly Ball, February 4th, 2021. Let me just check something. I'm fairly certain that Molly Ball has blocked me on Twitter. Hold on one second. Let me just see something here. I'm going to do this in real time. Just go ahead and read that title. Molly Ball, journalist, Wall Street. No, she hasn't blocked me. Okay, fine. Oh, good. Maybe I'll reach out to her. This is the article. Molly Ball bragging about it. A weird thing happened. I'm not going to go over this. There's only one passage. You know which one I want. It has a very contentious word in it. Cabal. Here, let's go here. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream. A well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election. No. I know it sounds like they were, you dumbass, you lowly pleb. That's not rigging. They were fortifying the election. That's rigging, you MFing liars. No, they weren't rigging the election. They were just changing the rules to fortify it in their favor. And they believe the public needs to. All right. So they admitted how they rigged and fortified the 2020 election by changing the rules and laws. You go back to the Adult Survivor Act and you appreciate what they did. They literally, I'll say it funny, like they literally changed the law so that a batshit crazy geriatric lunatic could file a claim against Donald Trump the day it all started. You know, she's the Thanksgiving man. She just came in there and said, thanks. Here's your Thanksgiving turkey, Trump. I'm suing you for alleged sexual abuse that allegedly occurred 30 years ago. There's no evidence of it whatsoever. My story makes absolutely no sense. I'm a crazy woman to begin with. A cat named Vagina T Fireball. I say rape is sexy. Batshit crazy. They changed the law so that this useful tool, through her politically motivated attorney, I forget her name, could sue Trump, get the politically prejudiced jury to find him liable of sexual abuse. But that didn't go far enough, because, the jury only found him liable for sexual abuse because something went in her and she didn't know what it was because it's 30 years ago. How's anyone supposed to remember? The jury did not find Trump liable for rape, but sexual abuse, because something went. We don't believe her that he penetrated her with a pee-pee. We think he might have put a little fifi in there, a finger. Because that wasn't enough, under this law that they literally created so that this batshit crazy lady could go after Trump, they didn't get what they wanted, so they had that corrupt Judge Kaplan in one of his rulings say, it wasn't rape under the law, but colloquially speaking, it qualifies as rape. So it's technically correct when people say that Trump raped E. Jean Carroll. They didn't get what they wanted out of the law that they changed specifically to prosecute Trump. So they had a corrupt judge on the bench basically change the jury finding, which specifically said, no, he did not rape her. And he says, yeah, but they're doing it again, and appreciate that they're doing it again. They changed the laws for this particular lawsuit. They are now weaponizing every aspect of the legal system to go after Trump. We're going to get there in the contempt ruling. So appreciate it. It's like Alex Jones said when he was on the channel. It's the same play over and over again. And what's truly amazing is that it works because the collective memory apparently is not even 4 years, and people don't remember what they admitted to having done in 2020. Okay. The New York Post on Sunday cited recently filed court records. Let me see if that's going to give us me here. Ooh, no, that's just the article. Court records where Parker denied the allegations leveled against him in the rape case, noting his claim that the Adult Survivors Act was unconstitutional. Oh, well, it was constitutional for Trump. When Hochul came out and said, we're happy with this law. Constitutional for Trump, unconstitutional for me. The act was modeled after the New York Child Victims Act, which resulted in more than 9,000 lawsuits being filed in May of 2022. According to the Post, quote, the now expired act permits to file civil lawsuits against their accused attackers within a certain window, even if the state statute of limitations had run out on their claims. And then we get into the claims. Parker's accused. In 2004, a woman says Olga Jean-Baptiste claimed he raped her inside her apartment after they discussed relief efforts for Haiti that had endured flooding, per Breitbart News. The claim was submitted just before time ran out. The Post article said he added he boasted of supporting the law while denying the allegations. He boasted of supporting the law while denying the allegations against him, while claiming that the law itself was unconstitutional. It's wild. You know what that's called? Sucking and blowing. It's called flip-flopping. It's called, what's the other expression for what that is? Oh, let me see here. In 2018, Parker, who was sponsoring a bill that would require potential gun owners to submit to social media background checks, told a Republican aide online to kill herself after she accused him of misusing a parking placard, according to Breitbart News. Yeah, apparently this guy's not a particularly likable character. And apparently he also was charged with punching a parking ticket issuing guy in the face in 2000, I want to say 8 or something, a long time ago. Punching him in the face for issuing him a $55 ticket. So not an unsavory character, but now feeling the brunt of their weaponizing of the legal system. They thought it would never come back to haunt them. Wild. But now let's just, because we're going to do it anyhow. I pulled up the lawsuit. If I can think, no, that's Judge Engo, not Engren. Here we go. Here's the lawsuit. We'll go through it very briefly, because this is a filed complaint that, now he's contesting. Never happened. 20 years old, the claims, by the way. And just so everybody does not accuse me of hypocrisy, the point of this tirade, this rant right now, is not to assert the innocence of Kevin Parker. He might be innocent. He might be guilty. I'll reiterate what I've reiterated time and time again, although I was too shy to do it back when, what's her face there? Christine Blasey Ford was raising 30-plus-year-old allegations of being gang trained by Brett Kavanaugh at a house party in 1978. You know what the problem is with these allegations? Unfortunately, true or not, I'll say it for true, if they're true, unfortunately, sometimes you wait long enough that there can be no justice without being a current injustice. They might be true, but if someone cannot reasonably defend themselves, then there's an injustice. Also, they might not be true, and then a person cannot reasonably defend themselves because the power lies in the accusation. So I'm not saying that this guy's guilty. I'm saying that there's a problem with these laws. They don't mind the problems when they're directed at their ideological adversaries, and all of a sudden they mind the problems when they're the victim of them. Nature of the claim: this action is brought pursuant to New York's Adult Survivors Act. Pursuant to the ASA, plaintiff timely brings her cause of action within the retroactive revival window, which removes the previously applicable statute of limitations. Wow. Pursuant to the ASA, defendant is liable for the intentional acts which resulted in plaintiff being the victim of criminal sexual misconduct, serious psychological and physical and emotional harm suffered by the plaintiff. Jurisdiction: venue, the parties. Plaintiff is an adult residing in Brooklyn, 31 years old, at all times relevant to this. Defendant, Senator Kevin S. Parker, is an individual and New York State senator with his residence in prison and principal place of business. This dog. Do you hear the dog here? She's looking at me. She's looking at me because she wants to eat. Oh, let me just show. Hey, Pudge. Okay, get away from me. So they say they went to Haiti. They come back from the trip. He asked to visit her in her apartment to pick up some photos. Senator Parker arrived in the apartment with her at a table in the living room. After a few moments of visiting her, talking about the work in Haiti, taking the photo from her, plaintiff stood up and said goodbye when he put both of his hands on her wrists. Plaintiff was frozen in fear and was unable to cry out. Senator Parker then took plaintiff down the hallway to her apartment, to her bedroom, made a sexual comment, put her face down on the bed. He vaginally raped plaintiff without her consent. At no time, either before or during the interaction with Senator Parker, did plaintiff consent to any of Senator Parker's actions of a sexual alleged nature. All right, you want causes of action, and we can go through this. We don't need to. I mean, my obvious questions, again, why on earth would this have taken so long to file, even with that statute of limitations being suspended for a year? Is there any corroborating evidence? Is this a case of Tara Reid making accusations against Joe Biden, where you have Lisa Bloom, daughter of Gloria Allred, saying, we all knew it was true and we did nothing at the time, and you're not asking for money, you just want your truth to be told, and we believe you, but we got to fight Trump? Is it one of those cases? Or is it arguably like an MK Ultra type psychopath like, what's her face, Christine Blasey Ford? I remember, I need some caffeine. I'm going to tell it, talking in that psychotic baby voice, talking about how she'll need caffeine after she tells her story, fabricating a 30-plus-year-old story of rape from Brett Kavanaugh, who has been FBI background checked year over year for decades. Or is it one of those cases? No evidence, total fabrication, totally implausible, and yet people believe her. Is it like an E. Jean Carroll case? In the changing room of a Bergdorf, Donald Trump enters in. Nobody saw him. There's no celebrity people going crazy that Trump came in there. No service people saying, "Oh, Trump is in here. He's a big spender. We might want to, get a clerk working with him." No, none of that. Just some crazy lady making something up that cannot be verified, that can actually be disproven based on what she was wearing, a dress that apparently didn't exist until later on. So which one of it is it going to be? Is it a Tara Reid or is it an E. Jean Carroll? Or will it not matter? Because I don't know what the politics of this guy are. Oh, lordy, lordy. Anyway, that's what's going on with Kevin Parker. It's unconstitutional. And the wildest thing is, if this guy's going to challenge the constitutionality of a law that he passed and succeed in it being declared unconstitutional, what then? I presume Trump is challenging the constitutionality of this provision of law as well that E. Jean Carroll sued him on. The process is the punishment. They don't care what happens after this election year. That law was changed specifically so that this orchestrated attack on Trump could be put into effect and carried out by the politically prejudiced New York judicial system. When it comes politically speaking, New York is the racially prejudiced Alabama, Mississippi of eras past. And they justify their hatred to themselves because Trump is just that bad. All right. Do we have anything more on that? I'll give everybody the link to that lawsuit if anybody. I hate these lawsuits because like there's not a believe all women believe all. Don't believe anybody. You practice law long enough. I mean, you don't even have to practice that long to learn the lesson. You don't believe anybody. You don't even believe your own client, because the second you believe your own client and you stop verifying their story, you get your ass burnt. That came out bad, but you know what I mean. You get burnt. So you don't trust anybody. It's not a question of, oh, I trust you. Okay, so I'll listen. No. And it's not even trust but verify. It's verify. So we'll see what comes out by way of evidence. We'll see what corroborating evidence might exist to support Madame Baptiste's story against Kevin Parker. The dude sounds like he's got a temper. The dude sounds like he's got already a reputation of being something of an ass. That being said, it took 20 years for this woman to bring suit. And that is that. All right, everybody. Here's what we're going to do. Get your buddies on over to Rumble or Locals. I'll give you the link to Locals, because we're going to get into the contempt ruling, and then we're going to get into Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee. Let's just actually take some chat before we leave Rumble here. Viva, is there no law in New York covering election interference? There is. I'm sorry, Doc. Dak. Oh, my God, my eyes are getting bad. This is a funny question because they're going after Trump for election interference in that bogus Alvin Bragg prosecution. Remember, the only way they managed to turn those misdemeanor bookkeeping charges into a felony was to allege that they were wrongfully concealing election interference. So they have election interference. I mean, first of all, there's federal election interference and there's state election interference. So, they got it. And then as far as I'm concerned, they're breaking it. You want to talk about RICO election interference? That's what's going on up in Fannie, up in Georgia. That's what's going on up in Engeron in New York. That's what's going on with Kaplan, E. Jean Carroll. That's what's going on with Juan Marchand in this case. So, yeah, they are guilty of what they accuse others of. So that's it. Okay, now I'll give you everybody the link to Viva Barnes Law. No, not to Viva Barnes, to Rumble. It's going to get fun over there. Okay, bam, that's the link to Rumble. And YouTube has had as much as they deserve us. So let me just see the number. If I can be neurotic for 1 second. Actually, while everyone trickles over, I'll bring this up. I haven't watched this video yet, but it's Hakeem Jeffrey, so I know it's going to be, it'll be like watching stuff come out of a butt, but it won't be an egg. It'll be like a turd. This is a turd coming out of someone's mouth. Okay, yeah, let's just see what we got here. Haven't seen it yet. This is Hakeem Jeffries. He always says very intelligent things. And I have no doubt he's going to use the word extreme MAGA Republicans or extremist or something along those lines. Let's just see what it is. The eyeball, I forget what CBS News.
The extreme MAGA Republicans.
Did he actually? I'm sorry. I swear to you, I have not watched this yet. And I thought I was actually hallucinating. So first 3 words, extreme MAGA Republicans.
The extreme MAGA Republicans have set in motion the erosion of reproductive freedom. We're going to fight for it with everything that we've got at our disposal.
Hold on. Sorry. Fight for it with everything that we've got at our disposal? Didn't Trump get impeached for saying fight like hell? With everything we've got at our disposal? That actually sounds like a threat, Hakeem Jeffries. And you call the others the extreme MAGA Republicans.
If Roe v. Wade can fall, anything can fall. Social Security can fall. Medicare can fall. Voting rights can fall.
The people who say the Constitution is a living, breathing document that evolves, with the ages, are now complaining that things can fall. I mean, imagine if things couldn't fall. Well, you'd never have your Civil Rights Act. Imagine if things couldn't fall, women would have never gotten the right to vote. It's an amazing thing. Things falling, not always a bad sign, sometimes a sign of evolution. Also, just throwing this out there, when done by the Supreme Court of the United States of America, you'd have to be an insurrectionist not to accept the results of the highest court of the land. Maybe.
And God help us all, but democracy itself can fall. If Roe v. Wade can fall, then anything can fall.
Like, I don't want to judge him. He seems like a genuinely stupid human being. Like, not like they're useful idiots, liars, people with no conscience and no morals, but like decent actors. I was listening to John Kirby give another press conference today. he makes me want to puke. Like he exudes a pompous arrogance that's indescribable. Hakeem Jeffries exudes a similar sort of pomposity. Cringe might be a good word for it, but it's just extreme. If Roe v. Wade can fall, imagine what else can happen. You know, people who were denied the right to vote can get the right to vote. People who were denied access to certain buildings and infrastructures and services can get that access. But imagine what else can happen if things fall. You know, eventually you get your Buck decision. The right of, you know, the mentally challenged not to be sterilized can fall as well. So, you know what? Make sure you have a robust argument. But all that to say is Hakeem Jeffries is an idiot. Okay, so with that said, we're going to end on YouTube and come on over to Rumble is here. And if you want to just skip the line and come over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, who got sneak peeks of the turtle birthing an egg, who got sneak peeks of the vlog today, come on over there. But for now, CommieTube, I bid you, I don't know how to say goodbye in Russian, but you know what I'm saying.